Hey, welcome back to Messenger Motorworks. So we failed miserably in the last episode. There's no fuel, evidently. The fuel pump wasn't turning on. We didn't investigate it very deeply, but that's what this episode is about. We did buy some fuel and put it in the car, about 2.5 gallons. Well, minus whatever you spilled over there on the floor.
Love the new fuel container.
Yeah, there is not one good fuel container on the market anymore. If anybody does know of a good fuel container that you can buy with all the safety stuff that works, comment below. That'd be fantastic. So we are going to go into looking for the fuses, which we need to find on the interwebs, checking them, checking power at the pump on key on and while the thing is being cranked. Yeah, that's the big step. We're not getting fuel, and the fuel pump could be bad. The fuses could be bad. We could have a bad ground. The fuel pump could just be clogged because of old fuel hardening in there.
We also seem to be having trouble finding a testing port for the fuel rails. In order to be able
Can't
to
find a testing port for the fuel rail. Most, especially old cars, have a little valve that you can push to check for fuel pressure, number one, and you can even just kind of squirt it a little bit to see if there's fuel pressure, but that's not there. So we're going to start digging into the fuse box and see what we can find. Okay, so what we did find here is 13 and 20 are fuses that concern the fuel pump, this one in particular, and this one that seems to concern a fuel management system or injection management system. I believe Bosch Motronic is on this car, I'm not sure. So those fuses are in good shape. Now this whole thing is kind of in questionable condition. This is just not even screwed on. I mean, it's probably been that way for years. There's this kind of aftermarket, somebody put some grounds on because this car does have some sort of bonkers old system in it for like a car alarm, which we need to uninstall, and hopefully also that car alarm isn't why we're not starting. So who knows, but more looking into it. Well, here we are. Here's the fuel pump there. Really kind of, I mean, it's zip tied up here. So it looks like the original mount broke. It's supposed to be mounted on a rubber isolator. It's not mounted on a rubber isolator. It's just kind of hanging on these zip ties. So me and this guy probably would have got along just fine. But I can't even tell which is supposed to be the negative. Oh, there's a positive symbol and a negative symbol right there. So I guess that tells me what it's supposed to do. We're going to have Ross. I got my Greenlee here. Go ahead and turn the key on.
Key is up.
And we're going to touch these very rusty contacts and grind into them a little bit for the sake of observing that there ain't no juice. And then we're going to say, Ross, go ahead and try turning the car over. Okay, so we were able to actually register 6 volts on the Greenlee. So the pump was getting 6 volts put to it. Now, I don't actually have a manual. I really should invest in a manual. Why haven't I bought one of those yet?
Well, you're a weird dude.
I'm a weird dude. I'm kind of lazy that I have selective laziness that way. I'm not sure what the specification is for voltage to this pump. I would imagine it's probably a full 12 volts. But who knows what they might have stepped that down to. But the pump should be trying to do something, I guess is the point. There should be some manner of attempt. That is not even all that tight on there. That's a little shocking, actually.
Is a Walbro.
Well, bro, that's too highfalutin and fancy for me.
Well, they're pretty cheap, actually. They're not that bad.
Go ahead and, try to turn it over. Don't try this at home. This is very delicate work. Well, I can't even feel this thing trying to move.
Well, if it's only getting half voltage for some reason, then it's not going to.
Right.
We registered 6 volts, which is not what a fuel pump usually needs.
What's interesting too is, well, I guess I don't know that much about this system.
Right.
Most systems prime when you first turn the key on.
Right.
And it didn't try to do that. Or maybe it did. And I didn't have the leads on there yet. Okay, go ahead and give me juice.
Sure.
Yep. Probably.
You're recording this, right?
Yes.
Put on 2 amp, 12 volt. Or should I put on 10 amp?
Go ahead and do 10.
Maybe 10. Yeah, feeling 10. I'm gonna put it on hold. Power's coming on now.
Okay.
Power's on.
All right, so we got a negative, we got a positive, we got negative here, and positive there. I'm going to see if we can get it to kick on.
Probably don't want to hold it on there for too long.
Trouble is, too, it's all rusty. Can you get me, yeah, go ahead and shut it off and get me a little wire brush. We get a little bit cleaner contacts. Go ahead.
Contact.
I got a spark. Oh, the pump's vibrating.
Just don't hold it there for too long. Maybe touch it a couple of times to fix the session.
Can't really tell if it's getting up to full speed or if it's just barely turning.
Don't want to hold that there while I try to start it. Then we can really feel like we're back in our teens.
Yeah, super sketch.
Shut this off.
Nope.
I'm not hearing anything out here.
Well, it will turn a little bit. Okay. That should make this a lot easier for me. Go ahead, click it on. Okay. Ready?
Hold on. Get there. Key. Alright, ready.
1, 2, 3, go. No. I have no confidence in that.
I mean, we know it's a long shot.
So, I'm going to bring the camera over here and show you a couple things. This is the double relay. Here. It's screwed to this wall up there. I did take it apart, found some corrosion on the contacts that slide into those plugs. Cleaned them up a little bit. Kind of banged this thing around to maybe shake out some cobwebs. Another scary thing we found, this thing freaked me out real bad right here. This is a plug that goes into a relay. Fortunately, kind of discovered that it definitely is aftermarket. It's wrapped in cable. It goes into the same harness that has this aftermarket fuse. So I can only assume that this went to the aftermarket security system probably. And this tab here, which freaked me out because there was nothing on it, is probably aftermarket because you can see this sketchy little sheet metal screw. They put this in here on aftermarket. This is not a factory piece. This was probably plugged into the bottom of the relay that was there. Still, you know, learning things that lead me down the path to think that I could have a basket case on my hands. I could have a basket case on my hands. But I'm going to go down and measure the voltage at the pump while Ross tries to start the car. Or maybe we should do the thing that guy was talking about and just push the flap in on this thing instead of trying to start it, to see that, you know, instead of going through the whole trouble of it, if we just open this thing up.
We'll just turn the key on and
just turn the key on and push this flap in.
the screwdriver just put in it.
Oh, I didn't tighten that thing on there very well, did I? No matter. Make sure this plug is in there nice. So yeah. Yeah, you can just do that pretty easily. So what a guy said is this is a very basic system. Essentially, when the key ignition is on and you start to turn the key to the start position, gosh, I am really bad with the English language right now. It starts to suck in air, which moves the airflow meter thing, and that's when it tells the car to start pumping fuel. That's kind of an inefficient way to do things. There's no prime or anything like that on it, evidently. It just, as soon as it tries to start sucking air, it turns on the fuel. So I'm going to go down, I'm going to turn the key on, I'm going to go down and measure, and I'm going to have Ross push this little valvey thing in. Or not valve, little door that it moves while it's sucking in air. And I'm going to see what voltage shows up.
Okay. Oh yeah, I can hear this. This relay works just fine.
The relay's clicking?
Yeah.
That is good news.
So you should be getting a voltage right now.
Getting 7.7 volts, I think.
How about now?
Hold on. Read. 7.8.
I have that door open, pegged.
Just getting 7.9. Let it go. Nothing. 0.
0, and then
7.9.
okay, so this just like This relay is just working like a regular on-off switch.
Yeah, it's not going to be varied. It's going to be one voltage. So this pump definitely not getting the voltage that it needs. So the pump is not getting the voltage that it needs. Our relay is clicking away, as you hopefully maybe even the camera picked that up. Relay's clicking away when we open the circuit, and we're just seeing max 7.9 volts back there. First thing to check is going to be giving it a really good ground. I think having a lack of throughput on that fuel pump, first thing to check is its ground. So I think maybe fabricating just a simple ground wire from the ground on the pump to the chassis.
Yeah.
And, go from there. See if we can get a full 12 volts running through it. So that's what we're gonna do now, after I eat a Twix bar.
1/4.
China loves me. Okay, so here's what we figured out. It occurred to us that there must be a short probably in the line somewhere. So we got the relay definitely working, as you saw earlier. We checked the voltage at the bottom of the relay, 12 point something, high 11. Checked the voltage in the fuel box, or the fuse box rather, at the back of that, same pink wires, high 11, 12 volts, low 12s. So that wire just goes straight from there to here where it comes out of the chassis. There's no more junctions, there's no more anything like that according to the internet. So the short, Ross brought up, must be the motor. And I did observe that the motor was getting quite hot. And I was just measuring across it, because lazy. We disconnected the motor, measured across the wires in the same condition, and saw 12 volts. So we are actually getting enough voltage back here. It was the motor the whole time. So tomorrow I'm going to go to the AutoZone or the O'Reilly's and find just a generic inline fuel injection pump that'll pump 44, 45 PSI, probably, that's the max this thing would ever require. And, strap it in and hook it up. And then we should have fuel as long as there's no clogs in the line or anything like that. So, yeah, that's going to be the story. We'll pick this up in a little bit.